fall into big savings, all in the Kroger app. Get 6 packs of Coca-Cola, Pepsi, or 7-Up for $2.99 each. Then get juicy red, green, or black seedless grapes for 99 cents a pound, all with your card and a digital coupon. Shop these deals at your local Kroger today, or tap the screen now to download the Kroger app to save big today. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Prices and product availability subject to change. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
The move to electric is on, with Kia powering ahead in electric vehicle and plug-in hybrid technology. Take the impressive new Kia Niro EV, the multi-award-winning Kia EV6, or the stylish new Sportage PHEV. Make the right move. Order before December 23rd to avail of flexible finance offers and a super value gift card worth €500. For more, see kia.com.
Kia. Movement that inspires.
Real Life, Real Crime is a true crime podcast brought to you by Woody Overton and executive producer Toby Templey.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to an attorney prior to and during any questioning. You can't afford one, the court will appoint one for you. You understand your rights?
Your crime spree was over, son. Yeah, you thought you had it licked, but Detective Overton made you should have turned to shit. Get ready, you're gonna do time. Real life, real crime.
Warning. This episode of Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast, may contain descriptions of acts of violence or that are of a sexual nature. It should be for people that are 18 years or older. Heed my warning, people. I did not get the facts of these cases off of the internet or from some television show. The facts we're retelling you were presented to us by the victims of the crimes or the perpetrators who committed the crimes against the victims. My description of the crime scenes are what I saw with my own 2 eyes. If you're gonna get offended, please turn this podcast off now. Thank you. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast. And as always, I'm your host, Woody Overton. And I want to welcome everybody to the start of Season 7. Believe it or not, we're starting our 7th season of Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast. And it absolutely would not happen if it wasn't for the best fans in the world. You lifers rock. You know who you are. You're the ones out there every day sharing us and telling your friends and family members about us and getting people to subscribe. And, you know, just you kill it. But it's against any fans in the world. And the patron members amongst the lifers, thank you for the financial support. Really makes us go. You know, your money's going to good use. Today, I am recording for the first time from my personal studio. That is correct. I actually have soundproof walls. I have all the stuff, which we just got done doing the soundproofing this evening. And we were building the Real Life, Real Crime headquarters. And stay tuned. I'm going to put some pictures up on social media as it comes along. But it's a work in progress. But we appreciate y'all. We couldn't do it without you. And we love y'all. And we thank you, patron members. If we owe you something, don't be afraid to let us know. If we get behind or whatever, Cindy's pretty good about staying up on it. But just let us know. I mean, we don't bite. And patron members have taken advantage of the annual membership. You save 2 months off the monthly fee. I appreciate that. And don't forget, you get your benefits automatically. So, that being said, stay tuned at the end of today's episode for some more podcast announcements. Okay, for the start of season 7, we're going to get back to some, I don't really want to call it good stuff, but I guess it is good stuff if you're a true crime fan. I'm going to tell you about a murder. Parts of it are pretty gruesome, but I mean, it's just a good murder case, good solid case, and good police work. So I don't know how long it's going to go, y'all. Maybe an hour, maybe 2 hours. I don't know, because you know I'm raw and unscripted. So let's get started. I got to come up with a name for it. How about Eye on You? Eye on You. That just came in my head. And y'all know I'm raw and I'm unscripted and all that. So, but I do want to say thank you to Chuck Hustmyre, Hustmyre, and because I found some stuff in this book. After, I'll explain to you that the book's called An Act of Kindness, and it's something I'm looking at for future episodes, and I found this gem. So anyway, let's get started. Back in May of 2001, middle May to late May of 2001, just north of Jackson, Louisiana, which is in East Feliciana Parish, and I'm gonna give y'all some background on it. East Feliciana Parish is one parish away pretty much from Livingston, and if you thought Livingston was rural, you haven't seen shit until you see East Feliciana Parish. Now, let me tell you about that. I'm from East Feliciana Parish, okay? And the people here are the best in the world, some of the best in the world, but it's also the lowest property taxes in the state, and the parish has almost no taxable income like big businesses. I mean, it has a couple things, but not much. And it's, pretty much, it's really rural and pretty poor. And I hate to say it like that, but it's a fact. But I was born and raised here. Like, I'm the 6th generation Overtons from here, and my mother was my dad on my dad's side. My dad's dad was a judge here until he died, and then my mom's dad was the district attorney for this parish and the neighboring parish, West Feliciana, for his entire career. But anyway, born and raised here, okay, and always kept a place for hunting season, and would come up during hunting season and hunt and travel back to Livingston, and still do to this day. Now, back in May of 2001, the parish, like I said, it's just no taxable income. The sheriff's office was run by Sheriff Talmadge Bunch, who had worked for the sheriff's office before and then became elected. And it was certainly no fault of Talmadge's. And y'all know sheriff's offices in Louisiana get their income, not all of it, but their guaranteed income every year is they collect off the tax base. Now, the biggest tax base in East Feliciana Parish is landowners, because it's, like I said, it's really rural. It's a big time cultural, and like my family has a bunch of land now, and we grow trees, right? But again, keep in mind that it had the lowest property taxes in the state. So the sheriff's office, really the school system, all of the government entities that split the tax base, I mean, it's not much to work with, right? But in East Feliciana Parish, it runs from East Baton Rouge Parish north to the Mississippi line, and it runs east to the St. Helena Parish line, almost to the Livingston Parish line, and it runs west to the West Feliciana Parish line. Okay, so I'm just giving you the geographics. And I know a lot of people say, "Oh, we don't give a shit about that." And Well, that's the way I tell a story. So suck it up, Buttercup. So it's like I told you, it's really rural. A couple small towns. You have Clinton, which is where the courthouse is. Oldest functional courthouse in the state, I think, to this day, if I'm not incorrect on that. But it's an old small town, United States of America, and Clinton has pretty much the courthouse square, and that's it. To this day, Clinton does not have a stoplight, a red and green light. They just put up a caution light on the main highway on Main Street. So it's just sparsely populated, a lot of land. And Highway 10, Louisiana Highway 10, runs from east to west from the St. Helena Parish line to the West Feliciana Parish line. So that's your geographical divider. And it also runs right, that is Main Street in the town of Clinton, and runs straight through Main Street in the town of Jackson, which is on pretty much on the west side of the parish. So back on this day, I think it's like May 19th or something like that, in 2001, this guy's riding a tractor doing some bush hogging. Let me explain that to you. For those of you who know. If you don't, this is, not sharing too much information. I'm just going to tell my stories and quit worrying about that. Here's the deal. Bush hogging is when you ride a tractor. A tractor has multiple uses. You can have the bucket on the front of the tractor to move stuff. You can have attachments on the back of the tractor to turn ground so you can plant. You can have a bush hog on the back. The bush hog is when you go over fields that are overgrown, maybe a little bit of small trees and stuff you want to cut down. The bush hog is a heavy-duty cutting device, right? It's not what you want to cut your lawn with. That's not what it's made for. Now, they have attachments for the tractors that you can cut your lawn, like you see them doing on the golf courses. But so this guy's riding the tractor, bush hogging some deer trails. Again, big thing in Eastern West Feliciana Parish is deer hunting, y'all. That is a big part of the economy, actually. And so he's riding his boss's land, cutting some of the deer trails, trying to keep them in check before hunting season comes. And he's back on the piece of property. It's north of the town of Jackson on the Highway 10, just a couple miles. And in an area, when I grew up, we call this area, kind of close to an area we call the Sticks. It's just like a settlement, if you will. But it's north of Jackson, northeast of Jackson. So the guy's riding down the trail, riding tractor, bush hogging, minding his own business, and he looks up through the bushes and he sees a white pickup truck. And this is like 2:30 in the afternoon. And he's like, that's, it's strange. It's too early for any kids to be out here, screwing or somebody to be whatever. Anyway, he just knew the truck wasn't supposed to be there. So he gets off the tractor and he goes to approach the truck. Before he gets to the truck, the smell hits him, but he doesn't know what it is, right? He's a hand. He's a hired hand. And he's never worked a homicide, but he said the smell hit him, and he approached the truck and he notices out of the where you put the gas in, the gas cap thing is open, and there's a T-shirt stuffed in it, and it's got some flame marks, like scorch marks on the bottom of it, like somebody shoved the T-shirt into the gas tank and tried to light it on fire. He gets up to the truck and said the odor was really bad. The stench, if you will, was really bad. And he gets up to the truck and tries to look through the window. Well, you know what? He can't see through the windows. There's some type of greasy film all over the windows blocking his view to see what's inside. But from what distorted, foggy view he could see, it didn't appear that there was a body, or at least not sitting up in the seat, right? But he thought, shit, I'm gonna go get my boss, the guy that owns the land. So he went and got his boss and his boss's wife, and they came back to the truck, and the landowner, his boss, walked up and he's like, oh shit. And they tried to look in the truck again through the windows, and they can't see him because there's this funk, if you will, there's slime on the windows. So the landowner, they back away from the smell, and the landowner calls the East Feliciana Parish Sheriff's Office. Well, they dispatch a unit from the town of Jackson. An officer, Jackson, the town of, has a very small police department, but it's very close. This is right on the outskirts of the town. And so they send an officer up. Now, the East Feliciana Parish Sheriff's Office at the time, maybe, if they were lucky, had 2 deputies, 10-8, or on duty for the entire parish. So if they'd had somebody close, they would have sent them, or not tied up in court or whatever. But they didn't have anybody, so they send the town officer. And he gets up there and he parks and he gets out and meets the landowner, and they tell him what they have. And he said as he walked up, he could smell it, and he stopped and went back and he borrowed a work glove from the guy that was riding the tractor. And he went to the passenger side door and he looked through and he can't see anything because there's this stuff on the window, right? And he grabbed the door handle and pulled it open, and snap, pulls it open, looks in. At the same time as he's looking in, he's just hit with this wave of nausea, this overwhelming funk odor that rolls out. And he looks down and he's trying not to puke. And he looks down, and guess what? There is a body. And let me tell you what he saw. He's looking in on the passenger side. I say there's a body. There's a part of a body. He's looking in on the passenger side, and he looks in, and the whole truck is covered with this nastiness, we'll call it, and I'll explain to you in a minute. And he looks over, and there are legs down underneath where the driver's column is, and what's left of the body is draped over across the little hump. Now, it's a single cab truck, y'all. Across the little hump in the floor, and what's left of the head is down on the passenger side. Now, by this time, in an advanced stage of decomposition, Hey y'all, let me tell you about Gobble. All Gobble meal kits are pre-prepped. That means less work for you and less waste in your kitchen. Their meal kits include everything you need so you can save time at the store or just skip that trip entirely. I got the box in and I had 3 different meals. I had a Kung Pao chicken, crispy fish tacos, and a beef bourguignon, however you say it. But let me tell you about the classic beef bourguignon. Look, it came with beef pot roast and a beef broth concentrate, red wine demi-glace, cremini mushrooms, cipollone onions, mashed potatoes, baby carrots, and rosemary thyme butter. It was so easy to make. Literally like 15 minutes it took Cindy. And let me tell you something, and all the dishes were fire, but this thing was like a taste explosion in my mouth. It's just unreal. We got to spend more time together and more time doing the things we love because everything came in this one single box right to my door. So see what a difference Gobble will make for your household. Right now, they're offering my listeners a fantastic limited time deal. You get $120 off across 4 boxes plus free shipping and free cookies. And let me tell you, those cookies, I ate one that was sin-baked and it was delicious. Go to gobble.com/reallife. That's GOBBLE.com/real-life for $120 off your first 4 boxes. This offer is not available on the home site, so don't miss out. This is genius. It's taste explosions in your mouth like you never had. Spark something uncommon this holiday with just the right gift from Uncommon Goods. The busy holiday season is here, and Uncommon Goods makes it less stressful with incredible hand-picked gifts for everyone on your list, all in one spot. Gifts to spark joy, wonder, delight, and that's exactly what I wanted feeling. Hey, y'all, I ordered a super cool piece. It's a candle with a sculpture of LSU's Tiger Stadium on top of it. And each officially licensed laser cut wooden replica features up to 4 layers of detail, creating a bird's eye view of a specific football field, seating section, and more. And every label includes your stadium's name, the team's logo, and school location. And it has a coconut, soy, vegan wax infused with sandalwood smell that creates tailgates and touchdown scent profile, reminiscent of game day. It's invigorating like fresh cut grass and nostalgic like smoke from a pre-game grill, and calming like the crisp autumn air of a new semester on campus. Y'all, I love it. I have it at the base of my TV, and I'm ready to watch the Tigers play on Saturday night, right? Uncommon Goods. Look, when you shop at Uncommon Goods, you're supporting artists and small independent businesses. And many of their handcrafted products are made in small batches. So shop now before they sell out this holiday season. Uncommon Goods looks for products that are high quality, unique, and often handmade or made in the U.S. They have the most meaningful, out of the ordinary gifts anywhere.
They even have gifts you can personalize. From holiday host and hostess gift to the coolest finds for kids, to hits for everyone from the book lovers to diehard sports fans. Uncommon Goods has something for everyone, not the same old selections you can just find anywhere. And with every purchase you make at Uncommon Goods, they give $1 to a nonprofit partner of your choice. They've donated more than $3 million to date. So to get 15% off your next gift, go to uncommongoods.com/RLRC. That's uncommongoods.com/RLRC for 15% off. Don't miss out on this limited time offer. Uncommon Goods, we're all out of the ordinary.
Body, there's almost nothing left to it. And then there's some hunks of hair. The skull is showing. They can't tell what race it is. There's no skin. They can't tell what race it is. The maggots are everywhere. It's like a soup inside of the vehicle. So we're not talking about a mummified body. We're talking about a body that is just, being eaten and disintegrating in the South Louisiana heat in late May. And in an enclosed truck like that, it's going to be hotter than shit. But he looks in, the guy's got on black shoes, or the body has on black shoes, appears to be maybe green or black pants, and then a shirt. And he knows right away, right? I mean, he saw the T-shirt sticking out of the gas cap with the burn marks on it, but he knew this was above his pay grade. So he backs out without throwing up and uses his cell phone, actually, because it's kind of in the woods, and back then their radios really were for shit. He calls dispatch on his cell phone and told him to send the detectives, send his supervisor, the detectives, the coroner's office, the Louisiana State Police Crime Lab techs, and I believe it was a probable homicide. Now, why would he think it's a homicide? I mean, there's a chance, I guess, that this dude offs himself after he tries to light the truck on fire, but it's not probable, right? I mean, people ask me all the time, how do you determine probable cause? If it's 50% plus one? Well, you have to use your experience. And him looking at how the truck was attempted to be burned, and this dead person sprawled across the floor of the truck, he just knew he didn't want to fuck with it, right? So he called in, and within an hour of the initial call, Detective Don Mackey for the East Feliciana Parish Sheriff's Office arrived on scene. Now, let me tell you about Don. He's a career, lifelong law enforcement professional, and the East Feliciana Parish Sheriff's Office only had 2 detectives at the time. So I used to think we got screwed in Livingston when we had 8 to work everything, right? Well, these guys really got the short end of the stick. But at the same time, I think it gives you an advantage because you cover all types of crimes. You're not just working homicides, or you're not just assigned to burglaries or robberies or whatever. You're working everything. So I know that it makes you a more well-rounded investigator, and you certainly get to know all different walks of life, from your thieves to your hookers to your murderers or whatever, right? The people that would be good for something like this, your dope dealers for sure. I mean, they worked everything, and Don is still there to this day. He is a white male. I think he's probably a couple years older than me, and he's a little bit shorter than me. He's a good old boy, born and raised in East Feliciana Parish, and I tell you what, investigative wise, I put him up against anybody, and because of his experience. And I think that people misjudge smaller departments, even like Livingston back in the day. They're huge now. I think they have 30-something detectives, where we had 8 back in the day. I think some of the bad guys would come and commit crimes and burn vehicles and things out there because they think you're dealing with some podunk police are not going to do their jobs, or they don't know, enough to do or whatever. But on Don Mackey, shit, he does it all. And it is certainly not his first homicide. He's worked every single one of them since he's made detective that's happened in the parish. Now, does East Feliciana have as many homicides as Livingston or East Baton Rouge? No. But guess what? They don't have the help either. So, but Don arrived on scene, and just like me, like I told y'all in the past, what do you do? Now, where they screw it up on Jessica Chambers' case by having too small of a crime scene, right? Don wants a big, wide area, and he works from the outside in. And the one advantage he has on the stinking, rotten body of the victim, or alleged, we're assuming it's a victim, of the person in the truck is people don't want to smell that shit. And your looky-loos, your sheriff and those who show up, they might get within 15 yards and the gag reflexes are going to hit them and they got to back out, right? So Don works it from the outside in, and the crime lab guys show up and they photograph it. They take their time, they photograph the whole scene, everything around the scene, make sure they're not destroying any evidence, trampling on anything, and they get up to the truck, right? Coming working in a 360. I tell you, I always say I photograph it like I'm working a homicide, because you never know which one of those photos or the video is going to come back and give you the key to break the case. But he's working around, and of interest to him certainly was the T-shirt shoved into the gas tank that had been lit on fire at some point. It was scorched up, but it didn't blow up the truck. So, and of course, in his knowledge, he knows that somebody tried to dispose of the body in the truck by fire. But he gets up to it, and he looks in, and he just sees a mess. It's a soup, literally. I mean, it's just funk. I don't know if y'all know, but like flies, okay? A fly will come in and eat on a piece of decaying meat, right? Once the human body dies and starts to decompose right away, you start to give off a certain type of scent. And flies will find that. And what happens is they come in and they eat and they lay eggs while they're eating. And those eggs hatch and turn into maggots. The maggots then begin to eat, and they can eat like a ton. And they eat until they turn into an adult fly. And then they lay more eggs, and that's where more maggots come. And so they've actually done it like at the Body Farm in the University of Tennessee. They can take maggots off the body and look at it under a microscope. That's why we collect those. Look at it under the microscope and give you a pretty accurate time of death and within a day or so, right? Because by what generation the maggots are. The maggots will eat until they turn into flies eat, and they go on and do whatever the fuck flies do. But this is there. I mean, the flies are in there, the maggots are in there. I wasn't there, but I can tell you that Don's thinking, fuck this. There's no way that I can work this. He did look in and see I think he saw a black Nokia cell phone laying in part of the nastiness. But what do you do at this point? Well, I'd have done the same thing. After they photographed it to death and you collect anything you can from the crime scene, including the T-shirt and all that, he called for a tow truck, a 79, a rollback. And what they did was he ordered for the truck to be taken to the Louisiana State Police Crime Lab so they could process the interior with the body for evidence. And they did that. They took it in and they brought it in, and he said it stunk even worse. And he was kind of hoping that maybe some of the smell would get washed off of it on this, about 35 miles or so from where he was to the Louisiana State Police Crime Lab. And he was hoping some of the smell got washed away. He said it was worse. The crime lab bays where they do these inspections are not real huge, right? And so they come in and called for the bone lady, Dr. Mary Manaheim from LSU. Now, she spent her life working with corpses, okay? And she had one pretty famous, most of y'all know about it, the Faces Lab. And she can take dead people and reconstruct their faces and show you what they looked like when they were alive. But that's not the only thing she did. She spent her career kicking ass and taking names. On a case like this, guess what? you don't need an autopsy. You need the bone lady, right? I mean, a forensic pathologist is not going to be, there's nothing left on this body, y'all. All right, there's nothing left on this body but a few pieces of hair and some tendons. Okay, and what's a pathologist can't tell you what happened from that, right? So they call in the bone lady to sign the chain of custody and remember evidence, everything, and take the body in to do it. But let me back up because I got ahead of myself. So what happened is with the body is the deceased becomes deceased, and your body starts to build up gases, right? It swells. And then some of y'all on the crew page were talking about, drowning a body or sinking a body and using chicken wire and all that. So the gases can stay, well, it is what it is. In this case, what happened, or the reason they couldn't see inside the windows is because this guy's body exploded. And it happens. You will swell. The gases build up as your body decomposes. The gases build up and up and up, and you swell until, boom, it literally pops like a water balloon. And all that funk and nastiness was his intestines, everything inside of his body that could fly and be scattered about. When it blows, right? So that's what was covered in the window, the film on the windows. But Don Mackey noticed some blood on the passenger side when they were dealing with the body. Blood, different than the funk that's blown all over the interior of the vehicle. And when they take the body out, what's left of the body out, the remains out, and to give to the bone lady, they take it out. He sees the Nokia cell phone, which of course, that's going to be huge, right? If he can establish who the victim was talking to or the dead body was talking to and establish his timeline before death. But he looks down on the floor and on the passenger side and he sees something that he's never seen before in all his years of working homicides or working in law enforcement, period. He sees an eyeball, but it's not a human eyeball. It's a glass eyeball looking up at him, trips him out. And then when they go and look at the skull, there is the right eye is missing from this victim's head. So, an eye on you, right? That certainly is going to help in identifying your victim. I don't know how many people there are in the world that are missing their right eye, but I know there's a lot more of them that certainly do have it. So they take the eye into evidence and the phone into evidence. And then he notices a bullet, a spent head of a bullet, not the casing, the round, as it's been fired. And I told you about that in the past. When a bullet contains two parts, the lead part or the bullet jacket part, and then the container at the end that contains the gunpowder. And it's the hammer of the gun strikes the end of the brass, and it causes a spark, which causes the gunpowder to explode, which causes the bullet to come out. But the bullet, he finds it's not, in pristine condition. And you can't tell what caliber it is or anything like that. It's obviously been fired through something, so he knows he's got a homicide now, without a doubt, right? So they get it out, and then they still got to process it, this funk, this nasty black soup stuff. And this is why this one stuck with me, y'all. You know how they did it? How do you get everything out of that truck when all the remains are exploded and decomped and full of maggots and flies? I mean, just the absolute worst smelling, nastiest. I don't care how much of a hard ass you are as a veteran detective, you get a stinker like that, it's bad, okay? And it will gag you. And I would always breathe through my mouth and not my nose, and that helped me. But they still got to clean it. They got to keep processing in case there's something underneath the muck. And so how do they do it? They use shovels. They ended up getting shovels and having to shovel the guts and the maggots and the rest of that stuff out and processing it. Now, that's one day I'm glad I wasn't on duty, right? But it has to be done. And Don Mackey and them, they did it, right? I mean, it's a murder case. As bad as it is, it's a murder case. And then to tell you about Dr. Mary, she has been on more nasty, gruesome scenes. You know, you be an old homicide detective, and whether it's from suicides or murders, or you know, you get sent to check on a welfare check on somebody during the summertime. Their relative calls from New York City and says, "I hadn't talked to my aunt in 2 weeks, and you go check on them?" Well, when you get out of your unit, you can smell it from the outside, right? It's the same type of thing. I've gone and gone to move bodies that were bloated before they blew up, and their skin.
Hey, ladies, are you feeling overwhelmed by hormonal changes? Well, you're definitely not alone. There are more than 1,000 hormone disruptors living in our environment right now. It's in your food, your water, the air you breathe, the clothes you wear, your skincare products. They all mess with your hormones. Then there's the natural hormone changes your body goes through, premenopause, menopause. And while it's a natural process, it doesn't mean you have to suffer through it. The good news is you don't have to suffer through it anymore, because now you have Hormone Harmony, a formula made only with herbal ingredients that are shown to reduce hormonal symptoms in women of all ages. Hormone Harmony is not just a hormone support and supplement. It's become a phenomenon. Women can't stop talking about it on social media. A bottle of Hormone Harmony is sold every 24 seconds. And the biggest benefit? Well, my wife says it makes her feel like her own self again. And that's what women mention over and over in the reviews. And there are over 30,000 reviews for Hormone Harmony. And for a limited time, you can get 15% off your entire first order at happymammoth.com. Just use code RLRC at checkout. That's happymammoth.com and use code RLRC for 15% off today. That's happymammoth.com and use code RLRC.
Sloughs off, and it's like a gel that comes out. It's just bad. Then I mean, I don't care how hardcore you are, it's just bad. But Dr. Mannheim could hold her own, and she's just a legend in the field, right? So, but she, long story short, she took the remains, the skull, etc., into her lab at LSU, and she was able to determine that the victim was shot, and by using the skull, able to determine that the victim was shot and killed by a gunshot wound to the head. So that gives you your cause of death. Well, what's Mackey do? Detective Mackey in East Feliciana Parish Sheriff's Office. Well, certainly you're going to run the plate on the truck. He runs it, comes back to a guy off Hollywood Street in Baton Rouge. Now, Hollywood Street in Baton Rouge is down close to kind of where the refineries are. Certainly a poorer area of the city, and it's kind of the hood. I don't know any other way to put it. It's a high crime area. And so it comes back registered to a guy off of Hollywood Street. And turns out that Mackey goes and finds out that the guy from Hollywood Street, and I don't want to mess this up, the order I'm going to tell you, the guy from Hollywood Street had already been reported missing some time ago, and it was his girlfriend that reported him missing, and she went the day after he went missing. So she said he got a phone call at 11:45 at night. No big deal, not out of the norm. He got up, got dressed, and he left, but he never came back that was the kicker. He always came back, right? And so the next day or whenever it was, she was thinking, well, maybe he's cheating on me. So she called his mom and was like, hey, he always comes home. Does he have another lady? And his mom's like, no, he doesn't have another lady. And then she goes and makes a missing persons report. And she walks in to make the report. And she tells the officer behind the desk, she says, listen, I know he is a drug dealer, okay? And it's not unusual for him to get up and leave in the middle of the night. And I know he has a long history, but I'm telling you, something is wrong. He always comes home, and he's not answering his phone or anything like that. And I just know he always comes home. And so the officer took the report and they sent it downtown to the Criminal Investigation Division. And, the back then, or even nowadays, I guess you would say, you get that one come across your desk, you're going to look at it and you look at his criminal history, and then it was long and lengthy, and we'll get into it next week. But you look at his criminal history and you'd be like, it's a grown man, whatever. But the vehicle's still missing. Nobody knows that, right? And now, she reported him right after he went missing, and Mackie and them don't find him obviously until a later date, after when the body's decomposed and blown up. And that's what they said, that eyeball, that glass eye, would have been expelled from his head like a projectile when the body blew. The least the least amount of tissue, whatever's holding it in gets expelled first. Whatever your body is holding on to, the least amount gets expelled first. Like your stomach's going to blow first because there's no ribs and all that, and the heart and all that will go later on. But the eye, being a fake eye in the eye socket, they said it would have shot across the truck like a champagne cork. So, but she knew something was wrong. She went in and made the report. They didn't do anything about it. So she goes out and takes it upon herself to put up flyers of the guy in her neighborhood saying he's missing. And that's it. I'm going to leave it there for this week. Y'all, next week I will tell you about the actual investigation and give you the names and everything else. There's a lot to it that goes in. But eye on you. And two things that really stuck with me, the glass eye in the truck. And now look, I've worked cases on with a severe decomp like that, but I hadn't had to shovel anybody the fuck out of a truck. I mean, that's bad, right? Jeez Louise. And you talk about, hey, and they weren't making any money. I mean, not that law enforcement makes a ton of money anyway, but you make based off of whatever your tax base is, right? I mean, I think Kenner Police Department right outside of New Orleans used to be the highest paid in the state, but they had the industry, they had the airport and different stuff like that they made the taxes off of. West Feliciana Parish, exact opposite in East Feliciana Parish, because they have the nuclear plant. And once they had the nuclear plant's tax exemption deal was up, I think the sheriff's office gets like $1 million a year just off the nuclear plant taxes. I mean, that's a lot. So East Feliciana, poor Don and them, couldn't have been making chicken scratch. And I talked to one of the guys that was working in jail at the time, and he said, shit, man, I was making like $3 an hour, $3.15 an hour, So I don't know, fuck that. But the job has to be done, and I guess they did it well. But I'll close this one up for this week, the beginning of season 7 with Eye on You. And next week, tune in, and I'm going to roll through the rest of it. It won't be a long series, y'all, but it was a really good investigation. It truly was a whodunit his girlfriend didn't know, right? And Don didn't even know who his victim was until he ran the plate on the truck and investigated it further. But anyway, all right, so podcast stuff. Justice for Courtney Coco. I am recording this a tad bit early, like a week early, so you should get this on the weekend of March the 5th. Yeah, you get it on Weekend March 5th. I hope we hear something on Courtney Coco by the end. I believe the COVID numbers are gone down enough in the state of Louisiana where the governor has to reinstate grand juries, okay? And so we're going to see what happens. But if not, then as always, justice for Courtney Coco. Miss Barbara Blunt, I know y'all, it's like I'm like a broken record, but I get tips because I say this. And for those of you, the last couple of you that have sent me some tips that I haven't got back to you yet, I'm gonna tell you something. The last 2 weeks were real MF'er. We had the storm and we were literally frozen in. We had several inches of snow the first day up here. I'm in the northeast Feliciana Parish, right on the Mississippi line. And it came in and it snowed, but then it came in and it iced over for a week, which in South Louisiana just doesn't happen. And on top of that, all the running around, everything I've done in the past year with COVID, well, guess what? I was sick for 2 weeks in bed, pretty much immobilized, and, just made it through by the grace of God. Oh, so the reason I'm telling you this is the ones that sent on Miss Barbara Blunt, I am going to reach back out to you. I got your messages, but y'all please continue to share Miss Barbara's story. The COVID's going to end. People are going to get vaccinated. The number's going to go down. They have to open things back up. When they do, we're going to hit the ground running. And when Courtney Coco's case, the arrests are made, we are going to hit the ground running. Miss Barbara Blunt, don't call it a cold case. So, that hotline, tip line, y'all, for Miss Barbara, or pretty much anything else, is 225-395-1302. 225-395-1302. And I'm never going to answer it direct. It goes to a voicemail, so you have to leave a message. Patron, people always ask about Patreon, however you say it. And look, it's a lot of benefits to go with that, y'all. They certain tier levels of vandalism up, you have I think at least 7 full-length episodes that are in the patron-only vault. Those are full-length episodes. They get the early releases, early commercial-free, unedited releases. And so they get to hear me make all the mistakes, et cetera, and they don't have to wait to the original drop dates, and they don't have to listen to commercials. And a bunch of other stuff. I mean, it depends on what you use, whether you get a shirt or a mug or whatever. So y'all go check it out. It's at go to patreon.com/real-life-real-crime. Okay. And don't forget to check out that annual membership, which is 2 months free. Follow us on Twitter at real-life-crime. Follow us on Instagram at real-life-real-crime or at Overton Woody. And y'all check that out because I put different stuff on Instagram. I'm not going to lie to you and tell you I'm big on Twitter because I don't know shit about it. I don't think I've ever been on it. But the Instagram is all me. And then most of it is totally different than what I put on Facebook. On Facebook, I don't know, we're at 31,500 members on our Friends, Fans, and Crew page. That's Real Life, Real Crime, Friends, Fans, and Crew. You can go to, that's a private group. You have to be admitted. Our Dream Team moderators get you taken care of. And Dream Team moderators, I love y'all. Thank you every day for what you do. You have the Real Life, Real Crime Lanyap page, and that is another private group you have to be admitted to, but you can go there and post anything that's not true crime related, whether you sell something or you want to host a watch party or whatever. It's y'all's page you use any way you want to. I think it has 4,000 or 5,000 members on it. So go there and check it out. Check it out. There's a lot of cool stuff on there. My regular Facebook, I cannot accept friends, y'all, on my regular Facebook on the Woody Overton page. I'm maxed out at 5,000, but I get like 20 requests a day. And so y'all can go to the regular Real Life, Real Crime page on Facebook, and we're trying to morph that over so everybody can get on that. And finally, if you're a Patreon member, you get the Real Life, Real Crime patron only group on Facebook. And like last week, which will actually be tomorrow because I'm recording early, when I conclude Pad Tracks, I'm doing a live video. Well, guess what? If you can't catch that's on to the patron group only. You can't catch it on the patron group, no big deal. because it's saved. I mean, you can't catch the live, no big deal, because it's saved and on that patron only page. And there's a lot of stuff on there, a lot of stuff on the cases and stuff like that, but you have to be a Patreon member to get it. So, a local business advertising, y'all, the response has been overwhelming. I'd much rather support small and local businesses. Y'all, if you're interested in me or in sponsoring me and me advertising for you, contact Cindy, CYNDI, at realliferealcrime.com. And we got all kinds of stuff that we can do. All right, and we're about to. In the Crew Bash, I'm going to do a special drop announcement. The second annual Crew Bash is going to be at the Renaissance in Baton Rouge, and it is going to be a 5-star event, totally opposite of last year, but more info is to come on that. So, and it's going to be a limited amount of tickets for that for sure, and it's going to be a seated venue, and I'm not going to tell you yet who's playing after. I'm going to do a never before, adult only, live podcast from the stage, and I'm going to tear it up, and you're going to love it. And then afterwards, I'm not telling you who it is. It's going to play yet. We'll wait for the announcement. We're going to have the live band, and it's going to be a throwdown, y'all. Celebrate everything from our growth to 2 years. Real life, real crime. I can't believe that. It trips me out every time I think about doing this over 2 years, and then the growth. Over 3.5 million. And last year in February, I was at 1 million. And this year in February, even during the height of COVID, we're at over 3.5 million. And that's because you lifers rock. And I love and appreciate each and every one of you. LOPA, Louisiana Organ Procurement Agency. Go to lopa.org. Sign up to be an organ donor. Give the gift of life. Site, whatever. Be a hero, y'all. Donate it. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. Let me look at my map. Pick out another country. I have the pins in for all the different countries. Let's go with Scotland. If you're a listener in Scotland, you can join and be an open organ donor by going to lopa.org. And if there is a spot on there, if you fill it out and they ask you how you heard about them, you can check Real Life, Real Crime. So that's it. I'm Woody Overton, your host of Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast. And until next time or ever, don't let me catch you down on Murder Bayou. Peace.
Get ready, you're gonna do time. Real life, real crime.
Real Life, Real Crime is a true crime podcast brought to you by Woody Overton and executive producer Toby Tomplay.